Welcome to the Movie Draft Podcast. I'm Ethan Simi, and I am joined by the wonderful hosts of the Reckless Rebellion podcast today here on the Movie Draft Pod. First up, Jack Puce.
I'm honestly just here for Ethan's weekly spotlight quote. That's all.
They knew, Jack. They knew. They let it happen. Don't worry, that doesn't count. That was premature. That was premature. I couldn't hold it in. Secondly, we've got Klein Felt.
Chico to puto, Slimo.
And finally, Thomas Carter Rochester.
Are you an angel?
What?
You guys are this is unbelievable energy you guys are bringing into this draft. Today, we are collaboratively drafting all 11 Star Wars movies. This is a big draft. This is really kind of a very important draft because this might be one of the seldom times we ever do a full Star Wars collaborative draft here on the Movie Draft Podcast. So it's all in your hands. That's all I'm going to say to you guys. It is May. This episode is dropping on the 7th, I believe. So we just celebrated May the 4th. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how maybe all of us celebrated and what we did and how we're preparing for this draft. But first and foremost, I kind of want to clue the listeners in on what is different about this draft. So if you're new to the Movie Draft Podcast, welcome. We're drafting Star Wars movies. If you're not new, glad to have you back. You may notice that it's only me. I'm the only host on this episode. Generally, I've got either Sophie or Ben with me as well as my co-hosts, and we'll have a guest or two, and that's how we do drafts. Today is different because we couldn't resist the opportunity to get the Star Wars boys here on the pod, Klein, Jack, and TCR, and I'm actually not even participating in this draft. That's the interesting thing. I'm just going to be a watcher. I'm just going to be here for the vibes, for the good times, and honestly to keep you guys in check, just to keep the draft moving, because I feel like if I'm not here, we might be breaching an 8 or a 9 hour pod. But we'll see. Hopefully I can rein it in a little bit. There's my weekly Maestro reference. Okay, guys. So we're talking Star Wars. We're talking all 11 Star Wars. TCR, I want to start with you. Happy May the 4th. Happy belated. Can you fill us in a little bit about your podcast, Reckless Rebellion, maybe how you celebrated May the 4th? We'll talk strategy and stuff here in a couple of minutes. But I know that you're in a good headspace right now. That's why I want to start with you.
Yes, I'm on vacation. I am
putting in the work for a podcast too. Look at this guy.
I'm 7 marks deep. We have been partying. We karaoke'd earlier. We murdered Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wow.
My Star Wars experience started about 25 years ago. My father sat down. He found out that, The Phantom Menace was coming out, and he goes, "We have to watch these movies." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, fine. Like, I'll watch some movies you tell me to watch." And then it was the original trilogy, theatrical cut, complete with Return of the Jedi, green Twilight boobs seen through a lace front.
Wow.
And I was like,
delightful.
"Whoa, Father, what is this?" So I saw 25 years ago, roughly about the day, The Phantom Menace, and I just rewatched it. I celebrated May 4th by watching The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and the Empire, Tales to the Empire, and 100% absolutely loved every second of everything I've ever seen. I love Star Wars. I have it tattooed on my skin. And all I got to say is I'm here to bring unbridled, executed chaos.
I'm so nervous. Anytime that I pod with TCR, I'm just like, man, this guy is on a different level, and I wish that I could get on that level sometimes. I also have Star Wars tattooed on my body, so I feel like, even though I'm not participating, I feel like I qualify to be here in the watcher position. Jack, I'll throw it to you. Anything that TCR didn't hit about your pod, and then a little bit of Star Wars background for you.
Well, if you can't tell, our pod is reckless. It's in the name. It's just breathed within us. Like it's there. It's always chaotic. But we just 3 friends, 4 friends sometimes, depending on David Thompson. But we're just chilling, talking about Star Wars. Sometimes we disagree, and that's okay. I'm sure that will happen today. No, it's not okay.
Will
Clients
it,
tell me
though?
it's not okay. It's not okay that we disagree. But yeah, that's really the pod. My relationship with Star Wars, it's always been in my life for as long as I can remember. My aunt did tell me a story, one that I don't remember. I was too young, but I was staying over at her house one night for like a sleepover, and everyone went to bed. She had like turned on the TV. It was Star Wars, and then just kind of left us to fall asleep because that's what kids do. And she fell asleep. She came back hours later. It was like probably 4 a.m. and I was still up watching Star Wars. I never went to sleep. I was probably like 3 years old.
Wow.
I just encapsulated by this movie. And I don't even remember which one it was, but ever since then, it's a part of me. It's like at the foundation of my heart. Like I love movies because of Star Wars. I love the MCU because of Star Wars. Like it all comes back to Star Wars for me. So, being on this
Wow.
podcast today, it feels right, but I'm also kind of bringing in some dark side energy because I'll need that against Klein and Thomas. It's just necessary.
This is an interesting choice of words to say that you're against them in a collaborative draft.
We're here to build something, Jack. Okay, we're not here to tear each other down. This is all about building relationships today.
We're here to build Alderaan.
Always,
Exactly.
always a very interesting, approach for guests for the collaborative draft, because there are two styles of play here, right? The truly collaborative, do we want to work together to get things right and put a good graphic out, really at the end of the day, or does Jack want his number one, I guess is kind of how things go. I've been known to play both sides of the force, both sides of the coin. You could go the Ethan Simu way. Last collaborative draft, I felt good and I allowed other people their wins, and I ate my win a little bit. But Klein, I'll finish off with you. Your relationship with Star Wars, what it means to you, and how you're feeling going into the draft.
I'm feeling good. I'll start there. This podcast has been, since before you guys started it, I was really excited that you guys were doing this thing. And it's funny, you have Jack and I here on the podcast. We are probably two of your most devout listeners. We listen every week. Blue Valentine.
God, appreciate
every
you
time,
guys.
every mention. We've heard it all.
Justice for
but
Blue Valentine.
So excited to be here hanging out, and like Star Wars is where it all, just like Jack said, just like Thomas said, where it all kind of began for me. Like I love movies, I love loving things, and it all goes back to Star Wars. It was those blockbuster trips with Dad on a Friday night going, what is this thing? Seeing the poster on the box and picking it up and going home and watching it. And then my story has been told many times on Reckless Rebellion. Lego Star Wars was a big deal for me as a young kid. It was seeing these movies and then being able to take the things from those movies and build them and have them and play video games that feature those characters in like the Lego world and stuff like that. And it's just like, it is so cool that this was this other world that like me being 5, 6, 7, 8 could go and exist in and live in for 2 hours. And like, that's ultimately why I fall in love with film. Is because it gives me that escape. It lets me go and hang out on the tennis court with Zendaya for a couple of hours. It lets me go and be a stuntman with Ryan Gosling. Like it is, sorry for dating the podcast, but like it's just, Star Wars is so important to me. It's important to all of us. It's why we started this thing. And I'd like to say I'm the most professional Reckless Rebellion host, but we'll see how we are at the end of this. Okay.
Yeah,
we may end the podcast today.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, there might not be any more Reckless Rebellion episodes after this. We'll see if I can instigate the downfall of a nation here. I want to digress. I want to digress just for a second, Klein, because I think you brought up a really interesting point. Since I'm not participating in this draft, I don't really have the floor to monologue about things that I want to. So I've got to get it in now as this podcast host. You mentioned going to Blockbuster with your dad, checking out the box, seeing what is this all about, that kind of energy. Obviously something that doesn't exist anymore, something that is exceptionally rare and few and far between for that kind of memory and that kind of consumption of getting into that type of media. Yesterday, we are recording on the 5th, so yesterday was May the 4th. Sorry for dating the pod again. We've lost all hope of this lasting for eternity. And I wanted to watch a Star Wars movie, of course. My children are 5 and 4 years old, so they're kind of on the cusp where it's like, can I introduce you to Star Wars? Like, what is Darth Vader a little too scary for you guys? Like, how are we feeling? And while there are pros to like firing up Disney Plus and being like, hey, let's put on 20 minutes of, Return of the Jedi and see what you guys can handle. There's also that really unfortunate like bonding moment where like, I don't get to do that with my kid. I don't really get to go and like say, you guys, this is Star Wars. Like, do you guys want to see what it's all about? It's all over Disney Plus. It's all over everywhere. It's all over TikTok. It's all over everywhere. It's all over anything that like they consume. So it kind of loses that like really core value. So I'm curious as they grow up, what Star Wars will mean to them. I know for me, when I was growing up, I had The Empire Strikes Back on VHS and I just like fired it up every day. Just like that and Titanic were my 2 VHSs that I had. I was like 5 years old and I was like, these are the movies that I watch. This is my life. This is what I do. And it was fantastic. And so, I think it's an interesting like juxtaposition and dichotomy and dyad, if you will, of the power of Star Wars. Okay, last question before we talk draft logistics and before we really get into this madness here. Thomas, you mentioned that you saw Phantom Menace for celebrating May the 4th. Did you do anything else to celebrate May the 4th?
Not really. I watched that. I watched Attack of the Clones. I went to bed. I came on vacation. Today, time of recording, I watched Tales of the Empire. And I got to say, my 2 favorite pieces, spoiler alert, Thrawn, short haircut, pixie cut, Barasafi. Beautiful. Love it. No notes.
I don't know what that means. So I'm really happy for you. You're happy. I'm happy. TCR. That's how we do things here on the show. Jack, did you celebrate May the 4th in any particular way?
I did a little bit. I was on a plane most of the day flying back from California, back to my home of Jacksonville, Florida. But before that, I was on my honeymoon. So on May 2nd, it was one of the Star Wars nights they have at Disneyland, and we were there. We didn't like participate in the Star Wars night, but a lot of cosplay, which was awesome. A lot of lightsabers. It was really cool to like go on the Star Wars rides so close to May the 4th. But on the day itself, on the plane, I did watch Tales of the Empire, which was sick.
Wow. Okay, nice. That's sick. That's really, really cool. Klein, did you celebrate at all?
I saw The Fall Guy. I sadly did not celebrate all that much, but as you can see in the video here, it's not a video podcast, but I have Star Wars poster behind me. I have my Disneyland built lightsaber sitting beside me. I live May the 4th every day. So it is not like I'm not one of those.
That's fair.
I go to church on Christmas kind of Catholics, like I'm in it all day long.
You're living it. You're living it every single day. That is good. I feel like you all brought different levels of May the 4th celebration, so I respect that, and I feel like that's a good energy to bring into this draft. I tried to see what my daughters would do, what we could get away with for May the 4th. I don't think we were ready for any original trilogy. They know Darth Vader, they know the lore, they know Luke Skywalker, they know Leia, these things. But we didn't watch anything in particular. We did fire up Young Jedis, which is like the animated like little kids version of Star Wars. And I got them to watch an episode, and after they weren't super interested. I got to be honest with you guys there, which is kind of criminal because like Nub's pretty cute guy, and so we watched that, and I felt pretty good that we got to celebrate a little bit as a family. They went down. I fired up The Last Jedi, my favorite Star Wars movie. I'll just say that because since I'm not participating in this collaborative draft, I can openly and outwardly say that at the top of the draft that I do have a favorite. Because I was trying to decide like, do I go original? Do I go something different? I have a Last Jedi quote on my body, and that is so I was like, well, I guess we got to fire that up. Like I don't see any other way, and it's actually been probably a couple of years at the very least since I've dove into like a Star Wars movie. Like it just doesn't come to the top very often where it's like, let's, fire up A New Hope. Like it just doesn't happen very often for me. So it was really nice to get back. I just got to be honest with you guys. It felt really good. And I was like, Star Wars is super fucking cool when it's really good.
My favorite thing is when Ethan Simi tweets out a poll saying, "What should I watch tonight?" and just completely ignores the results of the
Disregard.
poll.
This is
Who cares?
This is my life every
I
day.
feel
Every Ethan
attacked.
Simi poll.
I feel like you don't like that. I feel like that's what
I
I'm
love
hearing
it.
right
I
now.
genuinely love it because I
What
know
movie should I
whatever you
watch?
put
Oh, I'll
out-
watch Blue Valentine for the 48th time.
We all know
did.
what won. We were there. We voted.
I did, in fact, put up a poll, and I was like, what should I watch? And it was between The Last Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, and Rogue One, because I was like, one from every bucket kind of situation.
Right.
I left the poll up. It was going to be like a 2-hour poll, because I put this up like when I was putting my kids to bed, or a little bit earlier, and I was like, cool, I'll run this for 2 hours, and by the time I check the results, we'll be in movie mode. And probably about 40 minutes into the poll, I was like, fuck that, I'm watching The Last Jedi, and I just did not adhere to the votes of the poll whatsoever. I believe Rogue One won by like 1%. It was all like pretty evenly like put across the board, which I was really impressed with. I do own like the Last Jedi Target Collector's Edition that came out, and I was like, we got to put this to work. We got to pop that bad boy in. So that's how I celebrated May the 4th. Okay, draft time. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to brass tacks. This has been on the slate for a long time. This has been on the calendar for a long time. I'm really excited for you guys to dive into this. Now, again, this is the first time we're doing a draft, specifically a collaborative draft, in which I am not participating. I will, in fact, just be the watcher. I'm just going to make sure we adhere to the rules, we adhere to the abilities, and things go in the right direction. We do wind up with an 11 slate here at the very end. So I'm nervous for myself. I don't know how I will refrain from putting any commentary on crazy picks that are probably going to happen. That would be my guess. But I don't know. We'll see. This could be totally collaborative and totally easy. I do want to ask, before I get into the rules, before I talk about the abilities and how things are going to go, TCR, I'll start with you. Did you prepare for this draft in any special way? I know that you consume Star Wars on a regular basis, but did you do anything to say, I've got this draft coming up, this is what I got to do to be ready?
I had a 7-hour car ride where I listened to every single collaborative draft that I could possibly squeeze in.
Are you serious?
So that I could hear every possible existing scenario and then burn them to the ground and bring nothing but unbridled chaos to the floor.
Wow. I feel violated in some sense. I feel like you know me too well. And I host this podcast on a weekly basis and just put it out to the universe for millions of people to listen to. That they don't, by the way. But you know, if they want to, they can. That feels intrusive, but I'm happy for you, and I hope did you garner anything from this? Like, do I have a method of things that you recognized?
You say you don't want to pull people's vetoes out of them, but then you do. So I don't know, Ethan. You tell me, buddy.
Shoot, I'm getting found out. The truth is coming out. Shit. Okay. Well, we just got to keep moving on. It's probably a good thing I'm not participating in this, because then I can buy myself an extra collab draft slot here to kind of peel things back and to reevaluate my strategy. Jack, did you prepare for this in any particular way? Do you have a strategy coming in? Because you did choose the words against Klein and TCR.
Oh, I have a strategy.
Wow.
I did do some prep. I prepped before I got on the airplane, and I did some prep on the airplane. Thomas did text me at one point, and he said, "I need you to take me down a notch," because I think he was going a little bit overboard with his thinking and his strategy. And I said, "I'll talk you down, talk you off the ledge. Come on, buddy." But at the same time, you know, we're here. I think we all have our particular strategies. We've been talking about this on our pod, Reckless Rebellion, we've brought it up, you know, here and there, and you know, I think everyone's kind of set in stone with where they're going. I don't want to speak for Klein, though, of course.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little interested. I think that is part of the magic of the collaborative draft. Is it's a wide range of scale of how much you want to pour into it, and how what you want to bring and what strategies you want to try to employ. Obviously, listeners of this draft, and TCR, I guess, knows that I've tried the full slate. I've tried it all, and it all fails. It is all a crapshoot, honestly. Klein, did you prepare in any particular manner? And I noticed that you said you wanted to be a little bit more collaborative here today. Is that true? Are we trying to go for team effort?
I'm just happy to build something beautiful here today, Ethan. You know,
Shut
me and
the
the
fuck
boys,
up.
we've been in the lab for weeks, crushing tape on that grind set, ready to go.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like I've been preparing for this draft my entire life, quite honestly. So
No pressure. Good. Okay. Great.
I'm ready to go. I feel like I, more than these other two, have been like adamant that he has a plan, that I have a plan. And if you've ever listened to Reckless Rebellion, if you haven't, go check it out. It's great. That's just coming from me. But I vehemently disagree with these two on a particular point in the collaborative draft that we will get into today. And
that's
so I'm
interesting.
coming in with one goal. After that, whether it fails or succeeds, it's gravy for me. But at that point, it's going to get bloody. We're going to enter that Coliseum like Obi-Wan and Anakin and Padme did with the praying mantis creature, and one of us is going to lose a midriff, and that's just the way it's going to go. But
that's
I'm
just
ready.
how life goes. I get that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
You are ready. I will just say for the listeners, when I first pitched this to you guys and we were just getting things set in stone and ready to go, kind of in a group chat, the replies were, get ready for blood sport, and then in all caps, we're going to murder each other, and then, oh, sweet Jesus, this is going to be incredible. So I feel like there are three very different strategies at play here and three very different energies, which I'm thrilled to just get to sit back and watch the chaos unfold, and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to go into the rules of the collaborative draft. We're going to talk about the logistics, how things are going to work, and then we will begin drafting here. As always, collaborative draft, shout out to Screen Drafts, incredible podcast that has basically created this format for a collaborative draft. We use it here on this show, so go check them out, go listen to their pod. They are the inventors of this incredible way that we do collaborative drafts here. So again, whether your strategy is to win, whether it's to work together, whether it's to instill chaos in this list, whatever you bring to the table, at the end of the day, we're going to have a board of 11 Star Wars films that we're working towards. Now, you guys are the Star Wars experts. I pitched this to you guys and said 11 Star Wars movies. I did not hear any arguments for including the Clone Wars movies as a 12th. I see some people do that on Twitter. I'm getting head nods from all of you. Okay, so we're in a good space. So this is not me as a Star Wars outsider just completely, choosing that on my own. This was a group decision here. We're going with the 11 kind of canonized, I guess, quote unquote, movies for Star Wars. Now, this collab is going to be a bit different. Like I said, 3 of you, board of 11, I'm going to be a watcher. I'm not participating. I'm just going to be listening, instilling some, chaos from time to time. We'll see what happens, but I'm not going to be drafting. I'm simply here to have a good time. So let's explain the picks and the abilities. We've got 3 drafters, A, B, and C. Drafter A is going to get picks 1, 4, and 7. They will have 2 vetoes as their ability. That means that if someone plays something in a slot that they are not happy with, they want it up higher on the board, they want it, I guess, can't be lower on the board, can't be off the board. So if they want it higher, that would be your veto opportunity. Now, this is interesting because prior collaborative drafts, future collaborative drafts that we have on the calendar already, they require a much larger swath of available films. We really only have 11 for this. There is no mystery ball of like someone might play a movie that you're not familiar with or that might be out of left field. We all know what we're playing with here. So I think that's an interesting kind of a little bit of a subtext to this as well. Drafter B is going to get picks 2, 5, 8, and 9. They are going to have one more pick than Drafter A, but they are also going to only have 1 veto. They will not have 2. They are only going to have a single veto, but by drafting pick number 2, they essentially draft pick number 1 as well. Then Drafter C is going to get 3, 6, 10, and 11. They get some lower picks on the board, but they get 1 veto, and they get 1 veto override. Now, the special thing about the veto override is that it cannot be used on your own pick. It needs to be used on somebody else's. We will cross that bridge when we get there. The veto override has been known to come in pretty clutch in the past for people that possess it. It's a big power play if you use it at the right time. Now, if it goes unused, you know what? That's your problem and that's your fault, and you ruined it. So every drafter has a little bit different situation here, a little bit different abilities. We're going to spin to see who is going to draft. Now, if your name gets chosen on the spinner, you get to pick if you want drafter A, B, or C. I'm just going to toss it out to any of you real quick. Is there a drafting spot that anybody is very keen on getting?
100%.
Going off board.
Shout out D Squad, my favorite droids.
Off list. I hope the best for you, honestly. Klein, Jack, anything?
Yeah, 100%. I want drafter C. I want that veto
Ooh.
override.
Oh, you want the veto override. That's your
Yeah.
prerogative here. This is very interesting. Okay. Huh.
He's full of shit. I don't believe that for 1 second. I can't trust Klein. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
We'll find out, Jack, now won't we?
We will. Let's spin the thing, Ethan. I don't have a strategy. I'm coming in blind. Let's do it.
Okay. Wow. This is incredible. Okay, we're gonna spin for spots. I'm gonna go over the list of films that we have to choose from in case you've forgotten what the 11 Star Wars films are gonna be, and then we'll kick it off. So I have a spinner here on my phone, and I'm showing you guys so it is very clear that Jack is going to get to pick first. I know the spinner heard you, and I know it respects people that don't give a fuck. So I'm happy for you. Let me spin it one more time. We'll see who's gonna pick second, and then we'll kind of lock in our picks. Man, Klein, done dirty by the spinner. That means TCR is gonna get to pick second. Jack, are you gonna be picking drafter A, B, or C?
Wow. This is momentous. Like, this is a moment in time.
Wait, before you pick, I feel like Klein might have given up the bag early. I feel like you did yourself in, Klein.
I did.
Or do you think Jack has the balls to do you it?
Jack of all people, I think, is the scary thing. That's the
tough.
You, on this podcast sometimes, Ethan, you have guests on here and they don't know. They might know you. They don't know Ben. They might know Sophie. They don't know you.
True.
We know each other so intrinsically at this point. 115 episodes of a podcast, various other appearances here and there, dinners at the White House, just everywhere. And I am scared that Jack knows me too well.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jack of all people is going to bring me down. This is finance boy down here. He spends his days working on Wall Street, doing his thing. I am terrified of him having the first pick because I don't worry. Thomas is 6 margaritas in. It doesn't matter. Jack, on the other hand, is going to be my downfall.
I just want to clue you in. Welcome to my universe. Every time I draft with either Ben or Sophie, it is a constant state of fear that one of them is just going to pry into the innermost understandings of my being. And they generally do. Jack, what are you going to pick?
I just want to say, this is what Klein does. He builds me up. He's going to make me feel all good. I'm so smart. Ooh la la. And then he's just going to come out of nowhere and just hammer me down. So I don't believe it for 1 second. I think he's doing just fine over there. I'm going to go with drafter C, please.
Wow.
Right
Damn it.
Wow. Just
No.
right to the heart. That's
This
crazy.
is the end. This is how it
That's
ends.
crazy. Okay, Jack's going to take drafter C. That means, Jack, you're going to get picks 3, 6, 10, 11, a veto, and a veto override. TCR, are you going to be taking A or B?
Oh, Klein, old buddy, old pal. I'm taking A.
I did this to myself. I did
You
this to
did?
myself.
No
Wow.
matter what, I wanted what I got. So thank you, Klein. Thank you for spinning the wheel of fate, the wheel of time to yourself.
That's tough. How you feeling, Klein? I feel bad for you, man. That's tough.
I'm broken. This is it. This is how
This
it
is
ends.
all
we
a
haven't
show.
even- We haven't even started the draft. We haven't even kicked it off.
Oh,
Wow.
boy. I have
Okay.
one veto? This is how it's going to go?
So, TCR, you're going to get picks 1, 4, and 7. You're going to have 2 vetoes. Klein, you're going to get picks 2, 5, 8, and 9. You're going to have 1 single veto. Okay, here are the list of films to choose from. Then we're going to start this collab draft. Then we're going to kick it off. Jack's going to enter us in with picks 10 and 11 here. And I have zero idea what you guys are gonna do. I have no clue where things are gonna end up, and I don't know. I've never been so excited for a collaborative draft. I've got no skin in the game, and this is just exactly where you want to be. Is in the watcher's chair. Okay, we've got episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Episode 4, A New Hope. Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Then we've got Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And then we've got Solo, a Star Wars story. These are our 11 films. Wow, this is just exhilarating business here. Kick us off, Jack. Pick number 11 for the Star Wars collaborative draft.
All right. It's time. This has been the moment we've
I'll
been
do it,
waiting for.
Jack. I'll do it.
Do you want to announce it for me?
I
Go
don't
ahead.
know
No,
what you guys are
go
threatening
ahead,
to
Jack.
each other. And
Go
it's
ahead.
incredible.
All right, look, I'm going to start us with the movie that deserves to be number 11 on this list. No doubt about it. No if, and, or but. Give me episode 1, The Phantom Menace, at the 11th spot.
Preach!
Ethan Simi.
Uh-oh.
This is the one flag that I had my pole planted in. That's not how that metaphor works. Notably, this is where the podcast falls apart.
We've just
believe
begun, Klein. We've just started, and we're already
the rest
crumbling?
of this list we are in agreement on very clearly. It is right here, which we must deviate. And I think we're going to have to wait to talk about episode 1. I have one veto and I'm using it.
Wow. Wow. I'm shocked.
I don't back down, Jack Hughes.
Oh,
I do
love
not
it.
back
I love
down.
it. Oh, man. Oh, man.
One single veto, and you're going to drop that on spot 11.
Yes.
Good.
Because here's the thing, Ethan. There are a lot of Star Wars movies that belong in the middle, but there are very few that belong at either end. And the order of which is very important. So that is why I'm using my veto.
I'm not even participating in this draft, and I'm intimidated by the way that you were speaking, Klein. You're
Literally, that's what I'm
bringing a
saying.
certainty to this draft. God damn, Jack.
All right.
I don't know,
it's fine.
man. I don't know. You're feeling okay? You're all right?
Ethan, I prepared for this. I have scenario B, I have scenario C, scenario
The
D.
flowchart's moving is what's happening.
That's right. It moves in real time. Okay, yeah, we'll save the Phantom Menace talk. I'll lead us off here with another movie. This one, it's tough. I don't think it belongs on the bottom, but it's going to be on the bottom. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's TCR. You never know what he's going to do.
Wild card.
I'm going to go with the opposite end of the saga, and I'll go with episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Number
Just from 1 to 9. From 1
That's
to
right.
9.
11. Who cares about all those other movies? We'll just skip to the end.
Okay. I don't feel like there's any disagreements due to the silence, but
It doesn't matter now.
I want to wait. I'll gladly talk about this movie, but I mean, TCR is out here with the 2 vetoes. I don't know how he feels about this. I really don't.
I feel beautiful about this, Jack Hughes, Jacksonville Hughes, if you will. Anakin's favorite Padawan, mind you. This is a beautiful pick. If there was one movie that if I had I was going to start off with, it was actually The Rise of Skywalker. It is my least favorite movie to rewatch.
Mm.
And it is not that it's a bad movie, it's that I feel like I'm taking a nap more than 50% of the movie. Because I have to skip a lot. There are really high highs. I mean, I'm all of the Jedi. Come on. Kanan Jarrus, Anakin Skywalker. I mean, Luminara. Come on. Aayla Secura. Come on. It's beautiful. But then there's also like parts of the movie that I literally have blocked out that I can't actually tell you what happens in it. But it's so bad that I had to black it out. This movie's only an hour and a half long, if you ask me. Because I remember nothing of the other 60-ish minutes. But I really want to talk about, Palpatine returned and all that. But, I mean, Rey, yellow lightsaber, Ben Solo, shrug. Come on, there are amazing parts of this movie. And I'm going to be very honest, there is no bad Star Wars movie. And that's what I want to really remind everyone. There's no bad Star Wars movie other than the Clone Wars movie, but that's not a movie that's 4 episodes of television put in the theater because 20th Century Fox needed some money. You know what I'm saying?
This movie's bad to me. I'll leave right over that. It has moments though that are genuinely my favorite in Star Wars. Like some of my favorite, like top 20 easy. Most of them centering around Adam Driver's character, Ben Solo. He delivers. And honestly, a lot of the cast delivers. Daisy Ridley, love her. Glad she's coming back. But it is what TCR said. It's hard to rewatch because you're just reminded how much they fumbled the bag on this. It's just egregious. It's a studio movie. Executives, I do believe, got their hands on this one. And I also think J.J. Abrams just wanted to do a 180 from The Last Jedi. It's tough. It's tough to even think about. It's been brought up a few times recently on the timeline on the Twitter timeline because Bad Batch, and there are some rough ties to it. And it has reminded me lately of like, oh God, there's that moment. Oh yeah, and then there's that moment. So I don't have a problem with it being at 11, even though on my personal list it would not be here.
Good delineation. Klein, do you have any episode 9 thoughts you want to share?
I actually think this is not a bad movie. I think it is okay. I think it is a fun watch, but a fairly forgettable watch. I think, as Thomas said, it has incredibly high highs. The whole battle between Rey and Kylo with the waves and the ghost of Han Solo showing. Like, I think that there are some incredible moments in this film, but it is ultimately a too many cooks in the kitchen thing. Like, it comes down to just, this was a reactionary movie being made in real time as they were kind of making it. And you can see the seams, and it is a bit of a mess, and it just sucks that the Skywalker saga ended on such a dull thud. This isn't exactly where I would put it in my rankings. I think that there are worse films, but I do understand why somebody would have this as their least favorite Star Wars movie.
Now, as someone not participating in this draft, I feel okay giving some thoughts after you guys kind of go. I don't have episode 9 personally at 11 on my rankings, but I could not agree with you guys more. I think there's some incredibly high highs to this movie. It's extremely unwatchable. I remember seeing this in the theaters and like losing my mind at certain moments where like Kylo is like, we were a dyad in the Force. And I'm just like, let's fucking go. Like, yes, that is what we're doing. And then like just not following that basically whatsoever. And just being like, wow, this movie is abhorrent. It's quite bad. I do think it's a bad movie. I have not seen it since I saw it in theaters. And last night I watched episode 8 and I was like, damn, should I like do it? Should I just fire up The Rise of Skywalker and just like cap this? So like that way I get the best of both worlds. Because for me, episode 8 is like, we're operating on full cylinders. And then it's insane to me that, and I think Klein, you hit it on the head. Like that was a reactionary movie made in real time to what people were saying about Star Wars. And I think it is insane that happened. And I don't know if this podcast and this theme did not get me to revisit The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know if I ever will.
The worst thing about it was that The Last Jedi ends in such a clean slate. Like they could have gone anywhere. And this is what they put out. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy stuff. Pretty bummer. Yeah, kind of a big bummer. TCR, you got anything you want to add?
I just want to say there are zero stakes in this movie. I mean, I will say I would have burned my entire theater down if Chewie had died. But then they bring C-3PO, the most important moment of his entire saga, in 9 films. And then all of a sudden they're like, by the way, his mind was backed up like 4 hours ago. Like, he's fine. But like the line of, I'm just taking one last look at my friends, breaks me every time, only for it to not mean jack shit. And it hurts. It hurts me in my soul. And that's a part I blacked out, and now it's back, and now I'm hurt.
I'm glad we could start off this collaborative draft with you getting hurt in your soul. That feels like we're doing something right. Okay. Can I ask, before we do pick number 10, Jack, before you go pick number 10, Klein, can I ask you a strategic question looking from the outside in here?
Yeah.
Because I've been in this position before. I was actually in this position a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You have used your veto.
I have.
Is there any inkling of you that is like, well, he might just put it up one spot?
Oh, that's exactly what he's going to do. And it hurts. And it hurts so bad. But you know what? Sometimes you sleep in the bed you make, and sometimes it doesn't work out. They knew, Ethan. They knew.
They knew the whole time. They let it happen.
Oh man,
Jack, it's your board, man.
it is.
You gonna let it happen?
Don't frame it like that, Ethan. I look. Yeah, I gotta do it. Phantom Menace going at this 10 spot here.
Fucking cold as ice from Jack.
It just is what it is. You know, this to me is the worst Star Wars movie, and the biggest reason why is because I don't have fun with it, and I'm shocked. It shocks me to say that, like genuinely, because there are moments in this thing where you're like, you know, people bring up pod racing, people bring up Duel of the Fates, and it's like, yeah, that's awesome, but the whole movie still, I'm bored as shit. And so like I like there are other movies on this that I know Klein would rather have in this spot, in the 11th spot, that are equally as bad, but for whatever reason personally, I have a lot of fun with. I can make fun of it. This one, I'm just like, kill me now, get to the next movie. This is terrible. I know a lot of people grew up on this one. I didn't. Even when I was like 7 years old and I started making my Star Wars rankings, this one has always been at the bottom. I've always found it boring.
Wow. Okay. TCR, seems that you've been raising your hand politely to jump in here.
I just want to say, this movie is so goddamn fun in the theaters. I cannot describe. The last time I watched this before the theaters, I was like, this is so boring. I actually ranked it lower than Rise of Skywalker, right? And I will tell you, I think I had more fun in this movie in the theater than I did Rise of Skywalker the first time I watched it, because like you said, it undoes everything The Last Jedi did. It's like, we have a clean slate. By the way, we don't. Phantom Menace is like, we have a clean slate. By the way, we're doing whatever we want. Suck it, old people. And this movie, the pod racing, I hate politics, but the politics of it is actually kind of mildly 12% entertaining.
Oh,
Jack,
you're
Jack.
wrong. You're so wrong.
I'm not
Tax
wrong.
law. Tax law.
Listen, all I'm saying is read a book, Jack. Learn how to not be dyslexic and read a fucking book. All right,
Give me
buddy?
a break.
Darth Plagueis the Wise, he talked to us about some of that shit.
When was he in the movie?
He doesn't have to be. You know why? He was killed off screen like every good Star Wars villain.
God.
Oh my God. No, I actually have so much fun. This is my first Star Wars film in the theater. And before Friday, which dating this podcast 2 days ago, 48-ish hours ago, I was like, this movie's garbage. And I watch it and I'm crying at multiple points in the movie that I never thought I would. I have so much fun in this movie, and my 7-year-old self is completely broken that it's this low, but my actual intelligent self is like, yeah, it deserves to be this low. The pod racing is incredible. Duel of the Fates, did I cry? Yeah, I fucking cried. This movie has such high highs and such low lows that I remember the lows, unlike The Rise of Skywalker, which I literally blacked out. What is that? 33% of the freaking movie? Come on.
So we're
This movie's
keeping
fun.
it. We're keeping episode 1 here though at number 10.
100 million%. And I will explain why soon.
This is hilarious to me because I feel like I'm staring in a mirror because I do exactly what you do, TCR, and I'm just like, this movie is so fucking good. Let's keep it at the bottom of the list. It is psychotic behavior, and I commend you for this. I'm so sorry, Klein. I'm just so
okay.
so sorry.
What I will preface my thoughts by saying, I don't think this is a good movie. I just think that it is better than some other films on the list. And where Jack might have fun with some of those other movies, I have that fun here. I think this might be the most fun bad film I just in my collection. Everyone gets one, and this is mine. The pod racing is so much fun. It's so awesome. Little Annie, as stupid and dumb as that performance is great. It's working. It's working. Is like 10 out of 10. Jar Jar, so silly, but so funny. The underwater stuff is, there's always a bigger fish. There are just so many moments in this film that are iconic to me. I remember seeing it in the 3D re-release in like 2011. Or 2012. It's the only experience on magic mushrooms I've ever had, and it maybe made the movie better. I don't know. I can't really tell.
So you're biased. That's what you're saying.
I'm biased. I was chemically induced to see the film and
to enjoy it.
You enjoy it. But I genuinely think that this has been reclaimed a little bit. I'm not on that side where people are like, this is the best of the prequel trilogy. I don't believe that. I just think that it is quite fun, and it is stupid, and there is tax law, and there are some stereotypes and racial connotations that are probably not like all that cool, but it still makes for a fun movie, you know?
Klein,
I say as a straight white man.
Pro-racial, negative racial connotations.
That's right.
Klein. That makes sense. Okay, I'll clue you guys in just a little bit here. Phantom Menace just got re-released in theaters for May the 4th. That was the one that they kind of chose. I believe the 25th anniversary is coming up pretty soon for it, or happens
right now
at a similar time. Right now. So re-release earned $15 million worldwide. It is now back in the top 50 highest grossing films of all time. So I feel like that's worth mentioning on some level. And then I think it did earn $8.1 million in the domestic re-release. It is the second highest grossing re-release in the past decade. People love Star Wars in movie theaters. That is just, I think that is the big takeaway here. People want to watch Star Wars on the big screen, even if it is Episode 1, the Phantom Menace. I don't have a lot to add to this conversation. It's been a long time since I've seen it. It is ranked number 11 for me personally on Letterboxd. Okay. We're moving past Jack, and we're going to Klein. Klein's got the double 8-9, and I feel nervous because I just feel like the blood is boiling, and this is the time to maybe unleash some madness. But anything's possible. Klein, number 9.
I am going to go with the movie that was released directly after Star Wars Episode 1. With Star Wars Episode 2 Attack the Clones. I think that this is just, you want to talk unmemorable movies, this is it for me. I do not care about this film. I have little to no fun with it at all. It's Thomas will come on here with his dumb little cute face of his and be like, follow Obi-Wan, follow Obi-Wan. Some of the Obi-Wan stuff in this is great, but the rest of the movie just sucks. By the end of it, we're in a droid factory and a 3PO head is on a droid, and I am just shaking my head going, what is going on? Who approved this? And it was George. Ultimately, it was George. He did it. But I cannot stand this film. So that is why it's the next worst movie on the list. So that is why it has to be here. And I am the one that has to do it, which makes me even more pained to do it, but I'm doing it.
I just want to say I really respect you guys as 3 guys who just love Star Wars and host the Star Wars podcast to come on here and just be like, these are bad movies and I don't have fun when I watch them. I think that is impressive, to say the least. TCR, are we keeping Episode 2 Attack the Clones here in the 9 spot? You're really the only person that could veto this.
I have all the freaking power, man. I love it. So I really just want to say there are really bad parts of this movie. And I forgot about C-3PO, the droid part, the Jedi scum. Oh God, what did I say? I forgot about that until I watched it on Friday. I was like, oh, that is a part of this movie. But you want to talk about forgettable. This is one of the most quotable movies. And remind you, I quote Jar Jar every podcast. Like, woo, but when I talk about sand, when I talk about the kiss that shouldn't have been, there are so many really bad lines in this movie.
The
Written
women and
lines.
children too.
Yeah. And then what happens? Oh, Anakin, it's okay. Let me stroke your really beautiful hair. Can we shout out his really beautiful hair? Even though it's like cropped and looks terrible, it's still beautiful. Like you can tell that's thicker than my hair, and I'm still upset about it. It's been 22 years and his hair is better than mine and it's shaved. So I just want to say that this movie deserves to be right in front of the Phantom Menace. And it 100% is still fun at moments. But there are so many books that tie into this movie that's actually really, really enhancing for this movie. And I see Klein's cute little fucking face saying, I don't know how to read. If it were really good, it would be adapted. I'm talking
The
Barris
best
Offee and the
books
Rise of the
become
Red Blade.
movies.
Rise of the Red Blade, it happened. Barris Offee. I mean, you seen it yesterday, kid. This movie deserves to be just a smudging above the Phantom Menace, and one reason only: Hayden fucking Christensen. The way he matches Jake Lloyd's like nuances is the same way that Tom Hanks
Nuances.
that Tom Hanks matches the child from. I mean, I guess it was a good idea, right? I think the way he does it, his smirk, his facial expressions matches with Jake Lloyd, and it makes it continuous in a way that I never noticed before, and I love it. It's Tom Hanks. I mean, he doesn't deserve the Oscar here, but it's the work that Tom Hanks put in matching the child of Forrest Gump. I said it. I live by it. I breathe it. I live it. You're fucking welcome, Klein.
How is that the Tom Hanks movie you bring up?
Oh,
When
yeah,
he's in a
he has
movie,
He's
where
in a
he
movie where
plays
he is a
grown-up
kid and then becomes an old man as the kid.
That might be the best part of this podcast. We should just end it now because that is just truly iconic.
I think it's harder to meet the, Alabama of it all. You know what I'm saying? Chocolate. That's so much harder than
I think it is fascinating that we are talking about Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, one of the worst Star Wars films, and we are comparing that to Tom Hanks's Oscar run.
Yeah.
That's interesting in
TCR.
my opinion.
What can
I'm not sure how we got there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add to the conversation. It sounds like we're going to keep episode 2 at number 9. It sounds like we're all pretty happy with that. I have it at the bottom of my list as well in my personal rankings. Okay, Klein, double up. Hit the 8. Is this where things get interesting?
No, this is on my personal list. This is number 10, right above Attack of the Clones. This is a movie that I truly believe has no soul whatsoever, and that is Star Wars, or Solo, a Star Wars Story. I can't believe that this movie got made in the form that it did. Obviously, there was a whole thing where it was supposed to be the Spider-Verse. It was supposed to be Lord and Miller. They were going to come in. They were going to do it. They got pulled off it for creative differences. Ron Howard came and finished it. And I think that this movie is so just okay that it just is. It bumps it down for me. Like, this is such a 2.5 star film that has no personality and no soul. And so I'm putting it here. And I don't know. I will say I really do enjoy Donald Glover as Lando. That is like one of the only redeeming factors of this film. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this movie. I forget the actress's name, but Carly Morgenthau from the Falcon the Winter Soldier series just shows up at the end, and Woody Harrelson is just like on one. Vision from Marvel is just there. It's not good.
Okay.
To say this is soulless, I think is a little harsh, personally. It's not.
Then veto it, dude.
Let me get through my spiel, Klein. We'll get to
no
that.
balls.
I am ballless just as this film is soulless. No, I'm kidding. It's there. It's fine. It doesn't do much to move the needle. I think there are a lot of interesting stuff in this. I love Emilia Clarke's character. Don't remember her name right now, but I love the character. Kira, that's right. Thank you, Klein. You love the movie. I forgot. All that being said, I like this movie much more than Klein. It is at number 8 on my personal ranking. So I am totally okay with how things shook out here.
You would.
I would.
I'm happy for you guys. TCR pro Solo.
I am super pro Solo. I actually consider this the fulcrum of the Star Wars movie saga because I think that there are films that are actually a little less good. And I think, well, maybe good is very interpretive, little less fun than this movie. But I'm going to be entirely honest. You guys should read the Kira book, Crimson Rising.
Oh my
We all know how good of a book that is. Okay, the worst part about that book is that it ends on a cliffhanger, and I hate the fact that I have to do what I'm about to do.
So does this movie.
And
Darth Maul just shows up. He's just there, and then we never hear anything about it again.
what
And he
are you
looks
talking
great.
about? He was in Rebels. You totally hear from him again. Kleino. You don't sit there and pretend like Darth Maul never shows up. It's like he got sliced in half in Phantom Menace and never shows up again. All right? You want to
Well, based on release calendars, though, Rebels had already wrapped up, Thomas. So
Listen,
technically, we have not seen. Well, there's Clone Wars, but that's
y'all live on a linear timeline. You got to learn how to live fourth dimensionally. Shout out Doc Brown. And I hate that I'm about to do what I'm about to do, but I have to not veto to this. I'm leaving it.
Oh my god. All that for nothing. Wow. Oh my god. My lord. The last time I saw this was in theaters in 2018. So I can't tell you exactly how I feel about Solo a Star Wars Story. I know that I think it is perfectly fine. I don't necessarily think it's bad. I don't think it's good. I think Alden Ehrenreich is one of the best actors of our generation, and I think we need to just redeem him at all possible costs. And the fact that he got wrapped up in a project that is mired with this much social stigma is unfortunate. I like it. This isn't my draft, but I like it. I think Solo's okay.
I think Alden, just real quick, I think Alden did a great job. I know there are people out there who say he was just playing a different character. I think
I don't think he's the worst part of this movie by any means.
Yeah,
Not at all.
If there are character inconsistencies, it's because of the writing, not because of his performance, in my opinion. I thought he did great, and yeah, it does suck, but hey, he was in Oppenheimer. Dude's on his way back.
And he shot first. What more do you want, George Lucas?
I think people should seek out Fair Play. Go watch Fair Play with Alden Ehrenreich, and
Yes.
and that's a great movie. Okay, so you guys are keeping Solo: A Star Wars Story at number 8. I had it ranked at 7 on my personal list. So if I were playing, would I veto? I don't know. Who's to say? Anything's possible. Okay, TCR, welcome to the draft. This is your first pick of the collaborative Star Wars draft. I will just quickly say, just to be clear, that books are not eligible for this draft. So if Thomas had considered drafting a book, which it sounds like that's the direction we were headed, not eligible. Okay.
That's probably a good thing. Yeah.
What are you gonna?
I don't know if anybody else was gonna, really handle the 9 Thrawn books being at number 1 at the same time. Like, I don't know if anyone else was ready for the Grand Admiral of the Republic. No wrong choices in the I'm actually at a really awkward spot in this here draft because I don't like the movie. I don't like the fact that I'm about to put this movie here.
Oh,
It
boy.
hurts my heart. It hurts my soul because I'm looking at my rankings. I'm looking at by the way, kids, you should go listen to the Rebel Rewatch and the Reckless Rebellion. We all have a collaborative ranking here. There are all 9
Thomas, we
films.
didn't buy ad time. Like,
Oh, I'm charging you ad time actually right now on the spot.
Beautiful. Hey, I'll Venmo you later. You should go listen back. We covered all 11 films. And I just want to say that where my ranking is, this film is actually, it's actually a little bit lower than it should be. But I do want to say that I don't like how low it is when I look at this picture. It makes me upset. I have to go with the best prequel film, and that is Revenge of the Sith. And the reason
wow.
is I feel like there are overall better films just from a writing standpoint above this. And as much as I love how painful this movie is. I mean, our group chat has been blowing up about the 20th anniversary, which by the way is next year. You're welcome, world. Or the 25th anniversary, which is in 6 years from now, re-release. I want it so bad after watching The Phantom Menace and having as much fun as I did. I cannot wait to watch The Revenge of the Sith in theaters again. And it hurts that it is this low, but at the same time, it deserves to be this low because there are better films ahead. So that's why it has to be here at number 7. I think we're at 7, right?
It's 7.
Thank you.
I didn't know if you were trying to toss that over to somebody.
He's saying his favorite David Fincher movie is what he was doing.
It's-
That's right.
What's
Good
in
movie.
the box?
That was a great Brad Pitt impression, Thomas. Very well done.
A1.
Now, Revenge of the Sith is number 7 on my personal ranking as well, and I agree with Thomas. I hate doing that because I like it more than that. But looking at the films ahead of it, like I just rewatched this movie. I've been going through the Star Wars movies with my now wife, which is fun to say.
No,
We've been going-
you gotta
no,
say it like
Jack.
Borat though. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
yes,
My
thank
wife.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We've been going through the Star Wars movies, me and my wife, and I rewatched this movie and I was like, God, like I want to like it because my childhood likes it. It's just so bad at points. The writing is truly, truly horrific. Like it's awful in the other 2 movies as well, but like I think it's because this movie, there are pieces of a really good movie in here, so it just sticks out more when it's bad. But at the end of the day, I'll always get emotional about it. It's always heartbreaking. But just to see what's come after, how they filled in the blanks with Clone Wars, with Rebels, and now even Bad Batch, the pieces were clearly there. They just couldn't put it together. So, yeah, I think it's a good spot here at 7.
Okay. We're feeling pretty good at the 7 spot here. Klein. I mean, you don't have any real power, but
No,
it
I
is
don't.
what it is.
This is my number
Call
8.
him out, Ethan.
So I'm not fine. I get it at home. I get it here. It doesn't matter. This is my number 8 as well, or number 8. This is number 7, but I do truly think that like there are some good moments of this film. I think a lot of people of our generation are like reclaiming this movie as like this better than it actually is. The final like showdown between Obi-Wan and Anakin is like iconic, and the John Williams has some of his best music of the franchise in this movie. It is just weighed down by what they had done before and the performances and the writing and the actors doing with the writing what they did. I don't know. All I need to hear is like, I've been dying each little day or little bit each day since I met you. What? I love you. Like
This movie is not a masterpiece. Anyone like
No.
it blows my mind how many people go on Twitter and say it's a masterpiece. Truly.
That is an Attack of the Clones line. Fine.
Oh, is it? Well,
Yeah, it is, buddy.
never mind then.
It's all the same.
One final comment.
I've
is
never
I-
actually seen the movies, so just put it out there.
Wow, you're great. You're a great, vamper. You've been doing 115 episodes of the Reckless Rebellion plus other pods. Beautiful. I love you. I would consider this the antithesis of Rise of Skywalker, where the highs are so high that some of the lows I'm willing to forgive, instead of blacking out and forgetting. Because even in some of the stuff in this movie makes me laugh, and I go, man, what if they had done this line reading different? Whereas like why is this happening in this movie? I really do love this movie. Klein, you and I also have it at number 8 in our personal rankings. So I'm happy it moved up one. I'm really happy about that one little bump up.
I've got 2 thoughts to share because it sounds like we're keeping episode 3 of Revenge of the Sith at number 7 on this collaborative draft. So I've got 2 thoughts to share here. Number 1, you guys are wrong. It is far higher than number 7. I just, as someone who doesn't host a Star Wars podcast, look, this is bad placement. You guys are wrong. Number 2, question for the group. As 4 white guys, I feel like we're all able to answer this. Is this the hottest that Natalie Portman has ever looked in a Star Wars movie?
Isn't she pregnant the entire film?
Isn't she in the all white getup at the very end?
Attack of the Clones,
Yeah.
baby.
Attack of the
Damn
Clones.
it.
Attack of the
Yeah.
Clones, baby. I was
trying to think. You don't see her a lot in this movie.
No, what I'm hearing here is that everyone thinks Attack of the Clones should be higher because of Natalie Portman's white outfit, which
Yeah.
I put in our group chat is the best.
Yeah.
I don't think I put it, but it might be the best Star Wars outfit of all time. And I do want to say that the worst part of this movie is all the deleted scenes of Natalie Portman doing awesome shit to set up the rebellion that they cut out. And that's why it hurts me on the inside.
It's got a
Tragic.
great ending. I think the last
Shoot.
like 25 minutes of the ending is actually pretty fantastic. Where we get done the battle, Vader becomes Vader, and Obi-Wan going to Tatooine. Like it's a theme on the podcast, but like you play the Force theme on Tatooine, I'm gonna cry. It doesn't matter when it happens, in a TV show, a movie, whatever. I will be tearing up. And the ending of this film is very much like, okay, like we kind of landed the plane.
I got a quick question. Who was born first out of the twins?
Luke.
I'm proud of you, Jack.
Is
Thank you.
that's correct? Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't
was
know
like,
we were
oh.
going to be put on the spot with Star Wars lore history.
I might have won a bunch of trivia last night and forgot to mention it. But I pissed off the entire crowd. So
I'm proud of you. I don't care what that crowd says. I'm proud of you. Okay, I'm not going to reveal where this is on my personal letterbox ranking. I'm actually going to save that for the very end because I feel like we're getting into territory now where things are different. And I just want to notice we've done all of the prequel films already, and they're off the board.
Yeah, where
pretty
they belong.
wide consensus that these are the worst trilogy, the worst set of films in the franchise. Now we've got the top 6.
Whew.
I feel like this is where things get interesting, but again, like things could go the way of Klein and like could work out. There's been no threats of vetoes, no threats of veto overrides so far. I don't know. Curious to see what happens, you guys. Okay, Jack, you're back on the board with number 6.
Yep, we're back. I remembered that I had this next pick in the middle of our discussion. I kind of freaked out because I didn't know what I was going to do. And I had to evaluate. I had to strategize.
Well, at least you remembered before it got to you, and at least
yeah.
people didn't double veto you and then cause you to absolutely not know what to do.
what a great moment. Go listen to the Ryan Gosling collaborative draft podcast. I died.
Just-
Amazing. And I'm so sorry, Ethan.
My
That
lowest moment as a podcast host in
That
the
helped-
history of my life.
It helped me so much in preparing for this. I was like, okay, that's a real thing. Prepare to fuck everybody if that happens.
Oh, it's real. It's very real.
I would like to go on record. I'm not prepared to fuck everybody. But I
Duly
am ready to make a
Damn.
pick.
Written down.
Darn.
I just wanted that stated, but I am ready to make a pick. This might be controversial. I don't know. I'm going to go with Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
Boo.
Yeah,
Wow.
bait it. Bait
That's
the veto, Jack.
incredible.
Do it. I dare you.
Yeah, look, I genuinely think it belongs at
As
number
the
6.
watcher and the host of this collab draft, I reserve the right to change the rules at any moment in time, and I would like to use my one veto as a watcher, not part of this draft, to now veto this. That's
If-
insane.
If only you said that in the
That
rules.
is crazy,
before
Jack.
we started the
It's
draft.
been the rules. I just decided to keep it a secret until right now.
Okay.
Been the
That's-
rules forever.
I think that's fair. That's fair of you as a host, but I deny your veto. You don't get it.
Denied.
I'm the captain now. Look,
Yeah, he
I
overrides.
could go on and talk about this movie and why it belongs at 6, but first I want to shoot it over to TCR and just kind of see how he's feeling. Where are you at, Thomas? How you feeling? You're 7 margs in. You might be 8 now, maybe 10. You'll definitely be 20 if we keep this here at 6. But I just want to check in on you.
I know where you live, Jacksonville Hughes. I am only about 6 hours away from you, pal. Maybe even not that much. No, it's 8 hours. I'm sorry. You'll never see me coming. I know for a goddamn fact this is not this low on your list. I know for a fucking fact. I seen it. I remember it, and I know that because I remember everyone else's Rogue One ranking. You have baited
I've been
me.
rewatching the movies. Hey, now I've been rewatching the movies.
Thomas, You don't have to veto. You can leave it here and you can let him wear this crown.
You don't have to do anything, Thomas. We're not asking you, but we are checking in.
The things I want to say are not podcast worthy. I thought we were friends, Jack. I know exactly what you're doing, and I hate the fucking fact that I'm gonna have to deal with it. Because you pick again at 3. I'm very aware of that. And I know damn good and well what Klein does not want at number 1. And I know what I want at number 1. But I have the math.
I'm so
I have the math.
What? We got Rain Man in the chat, guys.
You're welcome. Yes. Did you not know I'm autistic?
It's the Margs talking.
Dicks. Fuck all of you. I'm vetoing the fuck out of this.
Okay.
You're
just making
welcome.
sure.
And I just want to make it very clear. Klein really wants this at number 1. Don't let him lie to you. He fucking
At number
does.
what?
Number 1.
Numero
I
uno.
do.
You do.
Okay. Okay.
News decline. News decline.
Newsflash.
You didn't know,
okay.
but now you know.
Okay, let me ask a check-in question here. Let me see. Jack, I think smart play on your end.
Thank you.
Are you afraid? Is one of you afraid to be the first person to play something from the original trilogy?
No.
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 No. Okay.
Klein has the balls. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
100%.
All right, just
100%.
curious. Just curious.
Look, as Ethan just said, sometimes you got to play the game. You got to play the game. You got to do what you got to do. I didn't like seeing Thomas over there with 2 vetoes. It made me uncomfortable. It said, hey, I have power over you. And if Star Wars has taught me anything, it's like,
But
we got to destroy an empire.
It's
Okay,
all about the
so-
high ground.
Jack, you forget what you have. You slut.
I have nothing.
You are a
I'm
liar.
power.
You are a cheater. You are a thief. Eddie Guerrero will be so happy about you right now. He'd be like, oh! And it is Cinco de Mayo, you lying slut. I know where you live, and I'm going to come make out with you and your wife later.
I love a Challengers reference whenever we can get it. Honestly, I'm living for Challengers right now. Let's go.
Challengers indeed. I don't really know what to do with that, but I'm going to move on to my next pick here, or I guess the same pick. Star Wars. Get back into Star Wars, Jack. All right, what do I do?
Into Star Wars, out of the bedroom. Come on, buddy.
That's right. That's right. Oh, boy. A lot of ways I could go. We brought up the original trilogy.
Don't do it.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
I won't do it.
Okay.
I could.
Jack, what I'm saying right now is you and I,
Want to team up?
right now, we've got a bit of an alliance going on.
Ah,
We can
all right.
we could do some things, is what I'm
Back
saying.
in the bedroom is what
Some
I'm getting.
movers and shakers.
Okay.
Everybody trying to, get Jack going. There's so many things I could say. I just don't know if I want to say them.
I guess I have the power now. Who would have thought? At number 6, I'll go Star Wars: The Force Awakens. That's
Sure.
That's kind of what I'm feeling right now. It is a very, very good. Yeah. It's a good movie. I used to like it a lot more. Nothing will ever be able to take away the theater experience I had with this. I think most people can say that it's just truly 1 in a million. My first Star Wars movie in theaters meant a lot to me, still means a lot to me, but it's hard because other movies came out after this, and looking back in retrospect, it does knock it down a peg or 2 for me. And honestly, am I kind of over J.J. Abrams as a director? Right now, maybe, because when I go back to rewatch this, and even going back to rewatch Star Trek 2009, a movie I fucking adore, I rewatched it less than a year ago, and I was like, oh, this isn't really as good as I remember. But yeah, I think Force Awakens at 6. It fits my list. It is number 6 on my personal ranking. Don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, and because Klein doesn't have a veto, it's staying. I agree with where this is at.
Klein just catching strays every fucking which way, man.
Klein, I
It's
love
incredible.
you, man.
Take that, Attack of the Clones. I genuinely think that because of how the Rise of Skywalker went, it lowers the Force Awakens a lot.
Hmm.
And it's crazy that you can say that, but I think the rest of us here agree that it doesn't do the same thing to the Last Jedi, even though it does lower it. I mean, I think we can all agree it lowers it, but I don't think it lowers it as much as it does the Force Awakens, especially to me. I can only speak for me now. The way that the TROS, I don't even want to say the name anymore, TROS happens, it just makes me not enjoy the ride, the thrill, the near perfection that is the Force Awakens, because it's like, oh, they set a lot of great stuff up and there's no payoff. So therefore, it's like watching the Dallas Cowboys every fucking season. We are great until November, and then we start sucking, and then we come up, and then we hit the playoffs, and then we die. And then we're all in the offseason, and then all of a sudden, we don't do shit. I'm looking at you, Jerry Jones. This went sideways. I'm sorry. I agree with it.
First Tom Hanks, and now we're at the Dallas Cowboys.
Only
Episode
makes
7,
sense.
The Force Awakens. I have an interesting little thing to note about Episode 7, The Force Awakens. I don't know what this says or what this means, but in firing up The Last Jedi last night, I had asked my wife, Molly, if she had seen any Star Wars movies. She's famously not really a movie person. She's not plugged into Star Wars, not really plugged into this franchise. And I had asked what she had seen, because she saw that Kylo Ren was on the screen. And she goes, yeah, I've seen the Star Wars with Kylo Ren and with Rey. And I said, well, news to you, they're in 3 movies. So which one do you think it was? And then she went on to say, I've seen the one where Kylo Ren kills his father. And I was like, okay, very distinguishable Episode 7 moment. Totally understandable. That's great. So I don't know if that speaks to the reboot power of like The Force Awakens and its sticking narrative, or that my wife just needs to watch more Star Wars because she thought Kylo Ren was just in one movie. Either
Both?
way, both. I don't know. I think Force Awakens is good. I also have it at number 6 on my personal list. So
Nice.
we're back in alignment. We're back here in something that doesn't even matter.
I work for you, Ethan. I live
yeah.
to please you.
I am so glad that you said that, because that is what I'm trying to get out of this podcast. Even as the watcher, I just need things to be the way that I want them. Klein, you're up at number 5, but do you have any closing thoughts on Episode 7?
It's also my number 6, so I don't know why I'm getting all shot at by Thomas over there. I think that this is a good movie, and it's what they had to do. It's what they had to do coming out of the prequels. Like, literally the first line is, "This will begin to make things right." And that was, yes, it's a little derivative of the very first Star Wars film, but some of the new characters, I love Rey, I love Finn, I love that trio, I love Poe. And so like meeting those characters and getting to experience it for a Star Wars movie in real time like that for the first time was so special. And I do think it was good, if not great. I'll never forget Kylo Ren stepping off that ship and freezing the blaster bolt in air for the first time, and me going,
fuck, bro.
"Oh my god, I've seen Star Wars hundreds of times and I have never seen that." And there's so many moments like that in this. We've talked about it so many times on Reckless Rebellion, but that clash between Poe and Rey and Kylo at the end, or sorry, Finn, Rey, and Kylo at the end, is like, I think, so special to me, and it makes me tear up. And just like seeing Rey pull the saber out of the snow when we thought it was all going to be Finn, and it's so cool. I think this movie is so good, but not great.
The duality of Star Wars.
It's still like a 3.5, 4-star movie. Like I'm just loving it. Like,
well, we've now evolved from the 9, 10, 11 spots where we're all saying they're actively not good films, and now we're at 6 and we're like, that's a great movie.
This is where a
but
definitive,
we're not even in the top 5.
Star Wars tier jump happens to me. Like, there is the low tier Star Wars. There's a middle for me of 3 movies, which one of them is in the low tier on this list, but it ends with Force Awakens, and then we get into top tier. The top 5 for me are all definitively amazing movies.
Interesting. Okay. Klein, number 5. Bring us into the top 5.
Oh boy.
I would like to talk about a movie we mentioned a few places ago and bring up Rogue One: A Star Wars Story as my number 5.
Wow. Wow.
I think this is fantastic. I will let it sit there though, because there is that tier jump I was talking about. Does anyone want to veto anything?
I think this is a good movie. Some would say very good.
I'm not gonna lie, Jack. You sound like Trump getting ready to make a speech right now. This is a very good movie. Some would say it's very good.
He knows what's
That's how we're
happening.
leading off on Rogue
He's
One right now.
here. He knows
They know
exactly
what's happening.
He's debating it. You know.
I won't do a Trump impression because I don't want to embarrass myself.
And I've already got the
been-
haircut, so
Do it.
It's crazy you said that just now.
We've
because
evolved to personal shots.
In high
Unbelievable.
school, in high school, let me just clarify for all the
which was 2 years ago, might I add.
false, but sure. Which was right down the street from where I'm at right now, my apartment. It's like literally right across the street.
With Mac Jones, right?
This one kid, friend, he always called me Donald Trump because of my hair. Always. And it didn't even look like this at the time. But
Well, I will be tweeting out the thumbnail of this pod saying with Klein, TCR, and Trump Jr. So we'll really be getting those clicks.
I want to see Trump's response on True Social. Really. I
What
want to
does
know how
Trump
he
think of
feels.
Rogue One? That's the real question of
Bingo.
this pod. Where would he put it? But we are putting it at number 5 right now.
I'm
Is
putting it
anybody
at
going to
number
veto
5.
it?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good spot for it, personally.
Okay. TCR, you have one veto left. Are you going to be using it here? Or are you going to keep it where it is?
He's thinking. He sees the numbers. He's like Zach Galifianakis.
He's
in the
Rain
casino.
Manning this thing right now, yeah.
I hate both of you so much because you know goddamn good and well that it deserves to not be below 3. So I'm vetoing this. And I'm completely content. My top 3, I think, is pretty much everyone else's top 3. Jack, the pressure falls on you, you dirty, dirty slut.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
am.
It does. I am. we got admittance.
I want to put it out there. I was not expecting Klein to go that route. That truly shocked me.
I 100% fucking did. 'Cause
Maybe
he
I
knows
can't
damn
read
good
Klein.
and well where I was going.
Maybe I can't recline that because that did shock me.
We should play poker sometime, Jack.
I know. I'm proud of you. But this is what I said at the top. I knew you were going to surprise me. I knew it was going to happen. I was sitting here. You're like, oh, I got no power. Jack's so smart. Finance guy. No, not true. Klein is a genius, just working in the shadows like Palpatine. I will not override this veto. I'll let it ride.
Oh, that's fascinating to me.
So
I
what that
thought for
means
sure you were going to
is
override this.
You've got no override left. Bye, buddy. Hope
No,
to find
he,
your
he
dad.
didn't override it. No, he still has his override.
He's saying I'm
Except-
not going to want to use it on
but
anything.
No.
Oh.
Hold on. No,
But you cannot use it because-
left, Klein.
Oh, I see.
Exactly.
I see.
This would be
That's
your
right. It's
one
true.
moment and one moment only to use a
Lawyered.
veto override. But I'm not going to give you a second shot. You've already said that you're not going to be using it. So
Hey,
Again,
It
I
is
will
what it is.
murder you.
Let it
so.
ride.
They don't carry over,
let it
Jack.
ride. Yeah, no banking for the next collab draft, Jack. I've
Bank-
tried that.
wait.
Trust me. I've
Hold on.
tried, and I've been vetoed myself.
Look,
Did you
sometimes
guys
you gotta
know-
take a loss in order to make a profit.
Did you guys know that Darth Plagueis the Wise was immune, who was a part of the banking clan, and he owned about 25% of the banking clan?
I did
Entire
not.
thing. It's fascinating stuff. I should tell you to read a book, but I know that you guys here in the South do not read books. And by South, I mean Canada and Jacksonville.
You live in the South. Klein, what's your next pick here?
I'm going to bring up a little movie I like to call Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Oh my god.
Before I
Klein?
hear any
Klein
thoughts,
is a fucking
know.
monster.
before I
He
hear
is
any
sick.
thoughts,
He did
can
that
I
for
say
us.
something?
Yes, you can.
The Last Jedi right now on a list that I have updated frequently, almost weekly over the last couple of months, is number 5 on my list.
Oh, I'm aware.
And we're all so happy for you, Klein, even though you live in a lie.
Fine. You want to know
I
something
think it's a
fun?
great movie. I think, as I said, these are all great movies. We are dealing in masterworks right here. I just think that there are parts of this film for me that do not work. I'm looking at Gwendolyn Christie here. I'm at Captain Phasma. I'm looking at the Canto Bite stuff. there are moments in this film that I am not a huge fan of. I do really like what Benicio del Toro is bringing to this.
Oh,
I can do it. I can do it. Do you
But,
guys look? Okay, I know I'm the watcher and I have no pull in this and I understand that. Do you remember about 15 minutes ago when I said, I think someone is scared to play an original trilogy movie? And Klein was like, no, we're not. And then you guys went on a rant for 15 minutes picking every other single movie except an original trilogy film. That is what I will say about that. Okay, so Klein has played The Last Jedi at number 5. This is crazy that I'm not participating in this.
I am
Jack,
so mad at myself.
you're the only person with a veto, I believe.
I have the power.
So you have
wait,
the power.
how did this happen? How did this happen? What?
You have the power.
That can't be right. Wow.
See, he did it. He financed us, guys. He did it.
He's
Can
just
I
trying
just
to be
say-
like me, man. He just wants to amass that power.
That's right.
Fine. I wish we'd have had a little mini discussion because, like, I wasn't gonna veto this. Like, I'd have let it ride. I'm content. Fuck you, Jack.
I'm glad you said that, Thomas. I'm glad you said it because I'm content too. I'm leaving this here. I'm not using my veto. As much as I hate to do that because this is such a weird film where
I can't breathe. Guys, we have to
Ethan,
stop the
hang in
pod.
there.
I
Hang
can't
in there.
breathe.
Ethan, hang on. It's okay. I still have the power. We're okay. There are moments in this film where I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in Star Wars. Truly. Throne Room. 70% of this movie, maybe even 75. We'll go 75. We'll go to the quarter route. Is just phenomenal. And the other 25% is
waiting on a chase that moves like a snail.
It's terrible. And it's more terrible when you think about what was set up in the previous movie, a movie that I like less than this one. But like, it angers me. Again, it's kind of the same thing with Revenge of the Sith. Pieces are there. Like, I mean, this movie's a lot closer to being
This movie's a lot better than Revenge of the Sith.
It's a lot better. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot better. But like, oh my God, you had all the pieces and you're like almost there. You're 3/4 of the way there. And it just drops the ball in that other 25%. Still, though, I'll always defend this movie. There are people out there who just rag dog shit on this movie for absolutely no reason. Some others have valid reasons and I understand them. I just disagree. If you want to hear a 2-hour-long podcast about why I disagree, go check out our Rebel Rewatch, Reckless Rebellion. Sorry for the ad time.
Well, I've charged you triple for the ad time because this is bad ad time here. That's insane.
I'm sorry.
I'm
so sorry.
I don't want to digress too much here, but look, this is my number one. This is my personal favorite Star Wars.
I know.
The Last Jedi. I love The Last Jedi, and I think the quirks that quote unquote don't work according to you guys, who I don't know, apparently know Star Wars better than I do. I think that's part of the magic of The Last Jedi. I think I like all of those things. This is not going to turn into a Last Jedi defense pod here because I'm not going to allow that. But I like
Ethan,
I love The Last Jedi.
I don't think you need to defend it. I do truly believe that this, along with the other 4 that are left here, are masterpieces of film, like of sci-fi filmmaking. I think this movie, for me, has a couple moments in it that I would put amongst my top 5 favorite Star Wars things just to ever happen. We said the
Holdo
throne
maneuver,
room.
guys. Come on.
The Holdo maneuver is wild. Why didn't Oscar Isaac make out with Holdo? Because they
had it
you
going.
know that they were.
They probably did. It just didn't make it on camera. That's my guess.
But I just think that there are some things that draw this back for me when we're talking about films that a couple of these I do not believe have significant flaws. And this one does have, for me, some significant flaws.
I think what my 2 cents that I will say about The Last Jedi, since we're having this conversation now, is that I think it is a really perfect encapsulation of the duality of legends and what that means in Star Wars and the power of a legend and the power of a story. And I know that's coming from someone that is just deeply not as knowledgeable as like Thomas or you guys are on Star Wars lore and like Star Wars legends, but from someone from my perspective who just really likes Star Wars, I think it does a phenomenal job of creating the duality and the juxtaposition of that narrative and what a legend is. And I think Canto Bight plays a large role in that narrative in particular. Yes, it is a steep diversion from what we're doing the rest of the film. And Rose Tico is is kind of a soulless character. But
I like
besides
Rose
that,
fine enough.
I think
Calm down,
that,
David.
I think that says a lot about the movie, and I think that's the point. I really like The Last Jedi, and I will
Shout out
stand
Broom
by.
Kid. One of the most
shout out-
magical,
shout out
one of
Broom
the most
Kid.
magical Star Wars things.
when I rewatched it last night, and that is the final frame, I was like, the rebellion is everywhere. Let's fucking go. Like, I was so
It
fired
restored
up.
the magic of Star Wars after that magic kind of got taken away with the midichlorians of it all, and then this kid raises a broom, and it's like, whoa!
Oh
like,
my God. Yeah.
We're back. Like, they are doing this. It is everywhere and everyone, and it's just like, it got thrown away. But it is so like that final moment is, yes, it's on Count a Bite, but it is so magical.
I still
at my
think
number 5 spot.
I still think like the Battle of Crate is incredible. I think that is like really good Star Wars stuff. Okay, man. That's really disappointing to me. That's all I'll say about that. That's
sorry.
crazy. I genuinely think all of you are pansies and nobody wants to nominate an original trilogy movie, because it's very clear to me that one should have been played a while ago, but we'll hold that comment for later.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Number 4, TCR. You're the only person with 2 picks left. You've got the 4 and you've got the 1 spot. What are you going to put in the number 4 spot? Exactly.
Really, though?
You gave me all the
Exactly.
power, guys.
You
is
sure
what
about
happened
that?
here.
You sure about that? Listen, I'm gonna be real.
How
I'm really,
quickly things change here in the collaborative draft.
I'm just mad I didn't fuck around a little bit more and bring a little bit more chaos earlier on, because I just went with my rankings, and I know the other guys' rankings. Like, yeah, it'll sit here. I should have just pissed everybody off. I mean, Klein used his veto, so really any veto override is just me versus Jack, and we had a really great discussion, and I hate you, Jack. We're going A New Hope here. I mean, there's a very fucking clear top 3 here. A New Hope is my personal number 5. And to be honest, at fucking 7, I really should have played another movie, but it's fine. It's a rental. Because we all know how good a certain movie is in my original rankings, and it's not very good. No, listen, A New Hope is great. A New Hope is good. It's just that movie that you've seen so many times that you're like, okay, cool. I know where to like check out for about 5-10 minutes, and
We love Star Wars, I swear.
I really do love
Every
Star Wars.
time you guys talk about a movie, you're like, is it good though? I don't know.
Listen,
And that's what this whole draft has been.
I'm just pissed off that I know what number 3 is about to be, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. And what hurts me
Look,
is that it
Together
doesn't
ape
deserve to be
strong,
number
Jack.
3.
Together ape strong.
anything is possible though, TCR. Listen, anything is possible.
No, it's not. I understand the metrics of the game, the draft. The number 1 and the number 2 pick to those boys are going to be what they are. I don't have a fucking shot. I only picked what I picked because I knew where I wanted the Phantom Menace to be. And I declared war at the bottom of the draft because I'm content with the top 3 being anything of what they are. And I'm okay with that because there's a very clear top 3 in Star Wars. And the New Hope, Star Wars, 1977 is not a part of that. And I'm content with it. I really fucking love this movie though. I said it was only good. It's not. It's fucking great. I love this movie. When I talk about like last night at the trivia, they're like, you know, my name is Luke Skywalker and I'm here to rescue you. And then people were like, oh, fuck you. And I was like, oh, fuck me? Is that right? Well, guess what? You're too short to be a stormtrooper, aren't you? You fucking bitch. And we went to war all night long. All night long. Let me see that stormtrooper thong.
I feel like if we let TCR monologue for maybe 60 more seconds, I don't know what would come out of the end of that.
They may take the podcast away.
This is crazy. Jack, you do have a veto. You're the only person with a veto. You could veto episode 4, A New Hope, here at the.
I have the power. Just clarifying. Okay. I agree with TCR. There is a clear top 3. And 1977's Star Wars A New Hope, or at the time, just Star Wars, does not belong there. I won't be vetoing this. This movie is so magical. It was on on our last flight, we had DirecTV available, screen in front of our seats, and I think it was TBS. Yeah, TBS. New Hope was on. Turned it on. I didn't even really listen to it. I was prepping for this pod. I was doing other stuff, but it was just there. And every time I look up, I'm like, oh yeah, this scene. Oh, I could be quoting this right now. But I saved the plane from me quoting A New Hope. I didn't want to put them through that. But yeah, I think this is a good spot for it. It's number 4 on my personal list. By the way, I didn't say The Last Jedi was number 5 on my personal list, so this is kind of working out really well for me. I think this was a good pick by Klein, or by TCR. Sorry, TCR, you did this. Well done,
Klein
sir.
again, just taking fucking strays. It's like, oh, you did good. Just kidding. No, you didn't.
Thanks.
Tough.
Episode 4 for me, like you said it perfectly, Jack, it's my number 4, but it is so magical. And like this defined what like blockbuster sci-fi movie making would be for the next. We don't get Guardians out of this or without this. We don't get so many of these movies that blend this incredible mix of charm with incredibly deep sci-fi lore and great set design and characters that you love without this movie. And I think that it has my all-time favorite Star Wars moment in it, which is Luke looking out at the twin suns and the Force theme playing. It just makes me bawl because it's magic. Because like that is what movies are to me.
You could argue
in that moment.
You could argue you don't get 80s style filmmaking without this movie, because like the 70s had a very clear defined, like, this is what 70 movies are. We're exploring some deep dark shit.
New Hollywood.
And Star Wars comes along in
sad.
77, and you're like, and you still get some different strays like Blade Runner and Alien to like that feel more 70s. But then you get 80s, which is Indiana Jones. You have Goonies in there. You have so much more that I literally can't think of right now, because that's what happens to me on a podcast.
Aliens.
You get
is a little bit
Aliens.
Star
Yes.
Wars.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really it changed cinema. Some would say for better, some would say for worse.
It's really the first gear turn in the Hollywood machine, which I think is really interesting.
I would
Okay, you guys
argue
keep-
the
keeping it there.
second really quick behind Jaws.
Yeah, that's
Jaws
fair.
too,
Jaws in
yep.
75. Yeah. Agreed. Okay, we got the top 3. Jack, you've got 3. Klein, you've got 2, and TCR, you've got number 1. Jack, kick it off.
Oh,
We
boy.
had 3 movies to pick from here, and Klein is just really chomping at the bit here, hoping things go right. I don't know what's gonna go down.
Man. Oh boy.
Ethan's gonna be so mad when this is over.
This is insane that you guys come into my fucking house and you burn it down. You burn it down in front of my eyes.
Just like Seth Rollins, baby. That's what we do.
Wrestling. I know Seth Rollins, right? Wrestling. Oh wow. All right, I did it.
So
Proud of you. Oh yeah, Jack.
I did watch WrestleMania this year. It was pretty cool. Number 3, I'm gonna go with a little movie called Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. This to me is the correct placement, but it's not about me.
You're wrong.
It's not about me, Thomas. But I have the power, so it is about me. And it's going at number 3. This movie, again, just rewatched this one with my wife. And
No, Jack, say it right.
Say it right, or I'm kicking you off the pod.
what am I saying wrong?
My wife. You gotta say it like Borat, dude.
Oh, I've never seen Borat.
Oh my god!
I know.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Kicked off the pod.
I know. Everyone
Jack's like
in school
16,
always
so
talks
guys.
It's
about
like
it.
it's like the single biggest
What the
movie like quote of all time, and you're like,
When
I don't
I-
get it. I don't
When
get
you
it.
hang on. When you guys said it, I did get it, but I've never seen it, so I didn't think of it. I'm sorry. Everyone at school always talked about it. I was always a loser, cast out because I
Yeah.
didn't watch Borat.
I wonder
Um,
why.
I was never in the know.
It rains still here on this pod, so don't feel too good about yourself.
You fired.
But to be respectful of those who do love the movie, I will not be quoting it because that feels wrong. It feels illegal. But I'll let you guys do that. So when I watched Rogue One with,
My
Kamala.
wife.
God damn it, Thomas, we're just gonna have one thing. It truly special movie. I can't believe they literally took one line from the opening crawl of A New Hope and just made it into this Star Wars masterpiece. Rewatching it, the first 2 acts, it can get a little bumpy in terms of pacing and just kind of understanding where you are and whatnot, which is why it's not higher. It's not in that 1 or 2 spot for me. But that third act is maybe my favorite. No, probably second favorite third act in any movie ever. Like it just goes nonstop. So emotional. Like I knew they were all going to die, but at the same time, all these reshoots were going on for the movie, and you didn't really know what this movie was going to be. And then it does happen, but it doesn't happen in a way I expected. Sorry, spoilers for those who haven't seen Rogue One, but it is what it is. Just it's shocking to me how well they were able to pull this off. It's a phenomenal movie. It should always be in the top 3 Star Wars, in my opinion.
We got to get Riz Ahmed in more franchise stuff like this.
I'm into that.
What's
He's
like,
like elite
The
in this movie.
Nightcrawler. Oh my god.
He was in Venom.
Well, good franchises. That's what I'm talking about.
The ones that count.
Yeah, the ones that count. Yeah, Rogue One balls. I really like Rogue One.
yeah, it's. I
I'm
mean,
happy for
and
you.
we can't not
Top
have we can't have a Rogue One conversation without mentioning Vader. Like that in the theater, that whole sequence is just. I will never forget sitting there going, what is happening right now? And it's one of the only times we get in a Star Wars film, which centers around this Darth Vader character for years and years and years, of him just going all out at full power and throwing people against the roof and slicing them in half just to get this one thing, and he doesn't do it. And that is his downfall. And I think that like the ending of this movie is unforgettable. The last act is incredible. The performances are amazing. We got the best Star Wars TV show out of it, one of the best TV shows the last decade, just because Cassian Andor is just so cool. And yeah, Rogue One balls, as Ethan said.
Yeah. Interesting. Gareth Edwards directs this movie, goes on to direct The Creator last year. That was nominated for an Oscar, which again, weird year for the Oscars.
A lot of great ideas in that movie. He's really good at setting up a world, and that's about it.
That's a very good, good astute take. And then he's going to go on to do the untitled Jurassic World film, which apparently Scarlett Johansson is looking to lead. Which again,
that'll make me go see it. You know,
that's
she's
interesting.
great in everything she does. She's great. Not everything else is great.
Any thoughts on Rogue One, TCR?
Are you kidding me? It's the fucking best Star Wars movie of all time. Come on. It is Star Wars Battlefront 1, 2, 1, 2 again, and then maybe Republic Commando, all combined into one fucking movie. You talk about Darth Vader. You talk about choking on your aspirations, director. You talk about the buildup of like, oh, we're like this ragtag group of fucking nerds, which is, I mean, that's what they are. Trying to like, oh no, we're gonna stop the Death Star plans, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, you're not. You're just gonna let it happen. I can't even. The naming of Rogue One, it was the start of the Rogue Squadron, which Luke and Wedge Antilles go on to lead at independent times. It is beautiful. I'm very biased because I come from I watched Saving Private Ryan at a young age. I watched We Were Soldiers at a young. I love war movies, and the one thing I always felt at 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 13 years old, I felt that we were missing the war side of Star Wars. And when I got this in 2016 in Atlanta, filming something totally not relevant to war, and I see it with people I don't know, and we're like, yeah, this is really good. And then it's like, we get to that Scarif scene, and the first 2 acts are bumpy. Completely agree. We get to Scarif. There's no bumps, all gas, all pedal, all streamlined. You take a fucking Corvette and you push it into an Imperial Star Destroyer, and that motherfucker goes right into a goddamn the energy field around the planet, and then boom, everything goes sideways. You get the best flank scene in Star Wars. Second best is what? Klein, Omega, and the Bad Batch. That's right. Shout out animation. That's right. That's not a straight you, Klein. You love the Bad Batch, and I think it's the second best walkway scene in all of Star Wars, personally. Behind Rogue One. It's beautiful. I love it. It is very clearly top 3. And I'm upset that these assholes baited me. And I knew it wasn't gonna make number 1. I did all the math and did all the possible scenarios.
Wow.
Like, there's no way it's making number 1.
We
Virtual
did, Jack.
high fives between Klein and Jack is just assaultive. That's
We did it.
really incredible. Ben Mendelsohn, Riz Ahmed, I already mentioned. Mads Mikkelsen, Donnie Yen, Alan Tudyk. Like, this cast, low-key, really stacked.
Ben
for,
Mendelsohn
like,
in
just
this movie
a
is
movie in general.
next level.
Yeah, he plays Orson Krennic, which I really like Krennic. I think he's really good in this movie.
Fantastic.
And then Mads Mikkelsen plays Galen Erso, who I think he's very good for his very limited screen time as well.
Mhm.
Okay. Wow. It seems like things have gone a certain direction here for certain people, and I don't know if I'm happy or not. Klein, you've got number 2, and that'll lead into TCR's fake number 1.
Yeah. So here we go. Hashtag not my Star Wars ranking.
Yeah.
Just like the Rebels gave Leia and everyone else at the end of Rogue One, you all gave me hope. Thank you very much. And I am going to put at number 2 Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
Simply because I like to have fun. And Empire Strikes Back, not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. There's some great, it is great. There are magical moments. Yoda raising. Hey, no, it's like a 5-star movie, is what I'm saying.
It's like a 5-star.
It is a 5-star movie.
There you go.
Yoda raising the X-Wing out of the swamp, like the training, the Hoth sequence might be the most iconic Star Wars battle sequence. The walkers, the introduction of those is so cool. I just like Return of the Jedi more. And I know people will look at me and say, Klein, you were a broken human being. Well, guess what? I'm on the podcast and you're not.
Oh my God.
Empire Strikes
it's
Back
all
at
gone
number
to
2.
Klein's head. This is incredible. The rise and fall of Klein right before our very eyes. My Lord.
Rise and fall.
Wow. Damn, that's intense, man. That's intense.
Hardcore.
ESB going to number 2. Okay. Cool. I was gonna revisit it for this pod. I did not. I've seen it a handful of times. I'm really, great movie. Great flick, great Star Wars movie.
What do you say about this movie too, right? Like, it is
Right.
great movie. Like, it's literally one of the most iconic, if not to a lot of people, the most iconic science fiction film of all time. And so
Sure.
it is like, what hasn't been written about this film? What hasn't been said about this film? It is all out there. People love this movie and it is magic. Like, it is so good. I like to have fun. And you know what? Return of the Jedi, a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. Empire is a perfect movie. There no if, and, or but about it. It's a perfect movie. Does it
It's
warrant a
interesting that I
veto?
have it rated at 4 stars on my letterbox. If it's a perfect movie, that's fascinating.
Just,
Hey, Mr. Blue Valentine. You sit on the bench over there.
Hey, don't come into my house and tell me how to do things, okay?
That's
Blue
right.
Valentine's perfect. You talk about a perfect movie. Yeah, Empire Strikes Back, I think, like, I can only imagine what it would have been like to see this movie in theaters in 1980. Like, just would have changed your life. I don't think that's putting it lightly. Obviously, highly regarded as one of the best sequels of all time. And I think really, if you talk about, like, is the sequel better than the original, that's the leader of the conversation. I think for most of that. Darth Vader, pretty sick in this movie.
Pretty sick guy.
Pretty sick guy. Pretty sick guy. Okay. That puts episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, at number 2. TCR's got the number 1 pick, but there's one movie on the board. So
Thomas, I can
number one. I don't care. Fuck the rules.
Thomas, I can introduce this movie for you if you want.
Listen,
If
I'm
you
going to be
want.
honest. Hold on. I'm going to talk about Empire Strikes Back. I love it.
Sure.
It is perfect. And the only thing I can say that hasn't been said is that it made me fall more in love with Underlit Clouds. When you talk about God's greatest work on Earth, it's underlit clouds at sunset and sunrise time.
what
That's
a
all
take. What an incredible take.
Thank you. It is,
Fine.
hold on. As a fan of Grand Admiral Mithron Yoroto, it is perfect.
What were those sounds that just came out of your mouth? I don't know what any of that is.
You don't need to, Ethan. Just skip by it. It's okay.
But I will say, number 1, Return of the Jedi. I argue it. I don't like it. I don't respect it, but I accept it.
Good one. Solo callback. Klein, remember when you said that everything's been written about Empire Strikes Back? I don't think that was. I think Thomas just said something new. in terms of the clouds.
About the underlit clouds? No, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think that the underlit clouds on the planet of Bespin have been quite talked about enough when it comes
We're actually the
to
first
Empire
group
Strikes
of people to add something new to the Empire Strikes Back conversation in the last 45 years.
That's right.
So
Back. That's wild.
that's impressive. Or I guess last 44 years. That's crazy. Look at us. Okay. Return of the Jedi is at number 1. TCR, I'm gonna let you lead if you want to lead because it's your pick here. But state your case. It's not like you have a choice, but state.
I
your
have
case.
zero fucking choice. If I had my choice before the Rebel rewatch, this bitch would have been an 8. This was my number 8 Star Wars film.
Wow.
Hold on, let me finish. From 2019 to whatever 2022 that we redid the Rebel rewatch, I actually had it at 8. I did not have fun. I guess I'd seen enough of it. Like, I love the opening, but I hated Ewoks. I still kind of hate Ewoks, but the fact they eat people kind of bumps it back up, and I forgot about that. I also abhor the special edition recut thingy where they have eyelids and they blink. It is the stupidest shit for me to not like the movie, and that's why it deserves to be in the top 3, because it's so fucking good. When you talk about Luke and Vader in the end, and the juxtaposition between that and Revenge of the Sith, especially on a rewatch of the whole saga in chronological order, which I always stand by, it is like, oh my God. I mean, his head looking left and right is the exact same as Anakin and Mace Windu. So I stand by it. It deserves, I would argue that the order of the top 3 is still in debate, but the perfect movies in the top 3, I think, are undoubted.
The order is what it is, brother.
I will be sure that when I put this graphic out,
This is your fault.
I will add an asterisk that says TCR vehemently disagrees with the top 3 ordering.
Good idea.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi, I think it's fine.
Okay, whoa. Easy there, buddy.
Go off,
Klein,
King, go off.
I will go off. When we did our Rebel rewatch, as we watched each individual movie, we ranked it as we went. And then at the end, I did do some numbers and some Excel stuff and found our collaborative Reckless Rebellion ranking. Collaborative, not like this is collaborative. This was by numbers. And at the time, it was funny. The collaborative ranking ended up being my exact personal ranking. I don't know how that happened. The numbers did what they did. It's just the truth. It's just the truth.
Sounds rigged.
Collusion with the
Sounds like
math.
you should have stopped the vote, is what I heard. Yeah,
Where were you on January 6th, Jack?
He does not
That's what I
accept the
wanna
results of
know.
the election. He does not accept them, no matter the lies.
No lies here. It's just the truth. True social.
Truth is subjective,
Truth
as you
social.
would learn in
And
Star Wars books.
Wild.
Bitch.
I went into this saying I don't need the ranking to be exactly what my personal ranking is. And it's not. There's one movie that's off, and that's Rise of Skywalker at the very bottom. Just bump that up 2 spots, and it's a perfect list. Return of the Jedi is my number 1 Star Wars movie. I came into this podcast with 2 goals. Get Phantom Menace at the very bottom, or at least below Attack of the Clones. And get Return of the Jedi at number 1. And I did those things. I accomplished those things without using a veto or my veto override. I was just,
I just want
Just here
you to
picking
know,
picks.
Jack, that nobody cares, and it's not going to be written down anywhere.
It's
this will
not
get
about
lost.
me, Ethan.
This will get lost to time and space, and you may pat yourself on the back, but we will not. Not here on this show. You don't come in this.
It's okay.
Is it though? I feel like
It is for me. Look, at the end of the day, this list is going out there, and as long as I know that is the right list with my 2 accomplishments, I'm okay with it. Klein, I didn't honestly, Klein, you surprised me. I know we were on opposite ends of the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then you come in clutch, pulling out another veto from TCR because I did not want TCR to have that number 1 pick and get Rogue One. As much as I love Rogue One, Thomas, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. So Klein, thank you. Like I thought you would hate me forever for Phantom Menace. Love you, buddy. We're all friends here.
Well,
Maybe.
we're having
This
a nice
is-
little.
this is incredible. This is the power of a collaborative draft. I feel like we are all better friends after we've lived through this. Okay. Let me quickly recap what our Star Wars collaborative draft is, what our list of 11 is. Then we'll get out of here. Take a little Star Wars break. I don't know if I can. This is about as much Star Wars content as I can handle in one calendar
We
year,
ruined the
quite honestly.
franchise for Ethan.
I think the franchise has gotten worse afterwards. I came into this and I was like, Star Wars is sick, and now I'm like, I don't think anybody actually cares about Star Wars. I think we're all just Star Wars pilled, and I think that nobody actually has fun when we watch any of these movies. Okay, we've got 11, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Number 10, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Number 9, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Number 8, Solo, A Star Wars Story. Number 7, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Number 6, Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Number 5, Episode 8, The Last Jedi. That was picked by Klein. And we will denote that on the graphic.
Please do. Twitter handle at the Klein Felt. Bring it.
Wow, inviting the massacre. Number 4, Episode 4, A New Hope. And number 3, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Number 2, Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. And number 1, Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. TCR. How are we feeling about this list? How are we doing? Can I just give you a shout? You held up. You veered off the road a bit, but we're here and we made it to our final destination. And I'm worried for you that you stayed with us this long. I can't believe you did it.
I mean, listen, it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot better, but I do believe 100% full on that we have the best top 3 and the best ranking of Attack of the Clones and The Phantom Menace. No matter how much I love both of those films, I think that Hayden Christensen bumps it up above The Phantom Menace by just a smudging, whether it's 1 ranking or 2 or 9, doesn't really matter to me. I loved it. I had fun. Thank you guys.
Was this podcast more fun than watching Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker?
100%, 100,000%.
Thank God.
I would put us
we did it.
at number 10 or 9
shaking his head no.
Skywalker saga.
Nice. We've made the ranking. Jack, Klein, any final thoughts on the collab draft here?
I'm just glad the blueprint for what Star Wars has become is number 1 on this list. I'm truly. It was a great time. I'm glad we all I collaborated with Thomas a little bit, collabed with Klein a little bit. Ethan and I shared some, pleasantries here and there. I think this went very well. I think it went very well. Had a great time.
You would say that because, it's basically your list. So, I feel like it was rigged from the start.
But it's not about me.
It's rigged every fucking time, Ethan. He fucks everything up. He colludes with everything. He is the dark sider. He is the true Sith.
I'm just a Padawan.
Jack will not be invited back on this podcast at any time in the future. So
scared to lose again.
I know that you played the Klein and TCR card here, and you were trying to do a little hype up action. You're like, oh, I just want to be like Ethan. Doesn't work. Not on my show. God, so sorry for you, Klein. Right. Any final thoughts on the collab ranking here? Anything that you would have just very, very prominently changed?
On the list, it's episode 1 and 2. I would switch those two. Other than that, I think this list looks pretty good, and I don't regret using the video at the beginning. I appreciate that Jack was really just out here for the cardio. He didn't use any of his powers. He was just like, yeah, sure, I'll come on and just sit back and pick some movies. But no, I'm happy we got to do this. I'm a little disappointed that we may never get invited back, but here we are.
True.
Yeah, that's the risk you run.
Jack's just not getting invited back.
Yeah, it's just me. I've burned that bridge, but I went out on top.
I'm actually never going to be talking to Jack again after this. Is kind of how this thing shakes out. I will very quickly denote my Star Wars rankings because I keep them in a private list so as to avoid attacks 365 days a year on Letterboxd. Number 11, I have Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Number 10, I have Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Number 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Number 8, A New Hope. Number 7, Solo. Number 6, the poster is really small, so I can't see it. The Force Awakens. Number 5, Return of the Jedi. Number 4, Revenge of the Sith. Number 3, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, Rogue One. And number 1, The Last Jedi. Notice when I was reading that list, I just want to note for the listeners, I did not look at any of you. I didn't meet your eyes at all. I stared at my phone and I said, thank you very much. Let's move forward so as to avoid any further fallout. TCR, you got a final thought?
I did have a strategy of trying to get Ethan's rankings because he tweeted him the other day, and I said Rogue One deserves more love.
You
and I was
did,
like,
yeah.
do I try to bring total chaos and just have Ethan's rankings? Because that is what I
You talk about
consider the
chaos.
Sith way.
Yeah, that is absolutely the Sith way. Huge thank you to you guys. TCR, Jack, Klein, thanks for coming on the podcast. Thanks for coming to do the Movie Draft podcast, to do a collaborative draft, the boys of Reckless Rebellion. If people want to find more of you guys, TCR, I'll start with you. Where can they find you at?
You can find all of us at Reckless Rebels on Twitter, ReckLessRebels. And of course, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find the Reckless Rebellion, the podcast with enough chaotic energy to fuel a Death Star. All about the wars in the stars. You can find me on all the socials at TC Rochester at TCRochesterACT. And I'm going to go finish the rest of my vacation, you beautiful sons of bitches. And remember, I love you, but you don't have to love me. I love you for both.
TCR, the real winner of this draft, chiming in on vacay. That's incredible content. Thomas, take off if you need to, man. I appreciate you coming in for this pod. Thanks so much, dude. Jack, is there anywhere else you want to plug? Anything that you want the people to know about?
Yeah, go check me out on Twitter at Jack Pews. That's where I talk about all this stuff pretty much and interact with you folk. Whoever wants to talk Star Wars or anything, movies in general, life in general, hit me up. Ethan, just thank you for having us on. This is a great time. I know I've made my jokes and whatnot, but genuinely, I love talking Star Wars. I love talking movies. I love competitive things, especially on a podcast. So I love what you guys are doing here. Keep it up. It's been great to listen to.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. And you're still not invited back, so you tried your best. Yeah, follow Jack. A good follow for sure. We should all bully Jack in watching Borat. I think that should be your next tweet. Just my wife, all caps, 100 exclamation points. Klein, anywhere you want to plug, anything you want the people to know about?
You can keep up with me everywhere. I'm at the Klein Felt, TheKleinFelt, Twitter, Instagram. I also spend my days writing and editing over on thedirect.com. So coming over, if you like Star Wars, we cover that pretty intensely, as well as everything else happening in the entertainment industry. So come and say hello.
You can follow us, the Movie Draft Podcast, at Movie Draft Pod on Twitter. I think we're at Draft Movie Pod on Instagram because somebody else stole the handle and won't give it to us. So yeah, find us. Yeah, it's actually Klein's burner. No surprise. Yeah, find us on socials. Let us know what you think about the list. Let us know what you would change. What you disagree with. What strategy you think reigns supreme. I think, this is a good exercise in anything works. And it's crazy times here on the Movie Draft Podcast. Thank you for me being part of this pod. I had a great time with you guys. I really did. I've got nobody else to thank me, so I've got to do it here by myself. I had fun, and justice for The Last Jedi. I think I think you guys got it wrong. That's how we'll end that show. Be sure to listen and subscribe to the Movie Draft Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes will be released weekly on Tuesdays. We'll see you then.